Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you're all well. So this video is going to be something a little bit different for my channel. This is going to be an interview with Tommy Tallarico, the CEO of Intellivision Entertainment. So as you may or may not know, Tommy is bringing a new console to market, or Intellivision are bringing a new console to market called the Amico. I've posted a couple of videos on my channel talking about my love for this system and how I think it's going to be a huge success when it comes out in 2021. So I was really happy to sit down and talk with Tommy today about all things Amico and other topics, and it was a really great interview. So thank you very much, Tommy, for taking the time out of your schedule to talk to me. Really do appreciate it. And without further ado, guys, let's go over to the interview. Hey guys, welcome back. So today is a bit of a special day. As you know, I've been following the Intellivision Amico for the last 2 years, and today I've just got to turn my phone off. I've got Tommy Tallarico, the CEO of Intellivision Entertainment. Hello, Tommy. How you doing?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me. You know, I've been watching your videos for 2 years now, so it's
Really?
It's finally it's finally good to talk Amico with you instead of me talking up the screen. Yeah, way to go, Pete. Oh, damn, he can't hear me.
I didn't realise that. That's amazing. Right, so what I want to do first of all, just because obviously this is a European interview, and obviously most of it's been American so far. So if you could just basically give a bit of background about yourself, what your career has been, and also obviously the elevator pitch for the Amico as well.
Yeah. So a little bit about myself. You know, I was born in 1968, so I'm 52 years old, and I was 12 years old when I got my Intellivision, Christmas in 1980, and that was my system. That was the one I grew up on. You know, I mean, I had a few systems before that, but that was the one that really, you know, that me and my family played and, you know, really had a, you know, amazing time with. And, you know, where my most, you know, probably my most memories came from. So, but I've been in the video game industry for 32 years. Some of the games, mostly as an audio and, you know, sound designer, musician in the early days. Some of the games I did worked on the original Prince of Persia, Global Gladiators, Cool Spot, Disney's Aladdin, Earthworm Jim 1 and 2. And then later on, I did things like Tony Hawk Pro Skater. I worked on the early Madden football games. And things like James Bond and Spider-Man and Metroid Prime with Shigeru Miyamoto for about 5 years. The Sonic series, I was one of the first Americans to be hired from the folks in Japan to work on Sonic. And I think Guitar Hero, I don't know if I mentioned that. But yeah, so just over 350 games. And, you know, I've won awards for video game design as well. Games like Knockout Kings for Electronic Arts. And of course, back in the old days, you kind of did everything. If you were in the industry, you know, I mean, you did level design, you did a little art, you did, you know, everybody on the team was always helping each other out. Probably similar to what, you know, indie studios, you know, now do, where, you know, you're not just a whatever, you know, you try to help out the team when you have small teams. And then in the mid 90s, I started a TV show with a dear friend of mine, Victor Lucas, and it was called The Electric Playground. It was syndicated worldwide. I don't know if you ever got it over in Europe.
No, we didn't, but I have actually watched it on Vic's channel. So.
Yeah. And so we did that. I did that for 12 years. And we had 2 half-hour weekly television shows all about video games. One was The Electric Playground, which is more like a kind of a funny comedic news magazine talking about, you know, talking about video games and interviewing the people who made them. And then the other one was a half-hour weekly reviews show all about, you know, reviewing video games, myself and Victor. And I was kind of like the brash East Coast Italian kind of bad cop, if you will, and Vic was the polite Canadian, and so it was good cop. So we always kind of, you know, it was a really fun fun thing to do, because sometimes we would agree on a lot, but a lot of times we disagree, and that was when kind of the fun ensued. But we won an Emmy Award and a Telly Award for that show. Again, I was on it for 12 years. And then I left because I had started Video Games Live in 2002, and we were starting to do like 40, 50 shows a year. So by 2007, I had to like make a decision to, go on tour with my show, and, really expand that. So I kind of left the TV show in 2007 after 12 years, and focused all my energy on Video Games Live. Within that time, I also formed a nonprofit organization for the game industry called the Game Audio Network Guild, or GANG, as the letters spell out. And that's been going now for 20 years. It's a really great place. If anyone's out there listening to this who is interested in doing audio or voiceover work or sound design, music for video games, check out audiogang.org. I kind of stepped away from the organization 3 years ago when I started Intellivision, because you just gotta, you don't want to spread yourself too thin on anything. But so Intellivision came back into my life 3 years ago as president and CEO, and been doing that ever since. So that's kind of a synopsis. The elevator pitch for Intellivision, that's a bit of a tough one. I guess if I were to, it's I saw this huge gaping hole in the industry, which was home consoles had started to become too complicated, too expensive, too solitary. I couldn't play games with my wife anymore, or my parents anymore, or even my brother, who isn't into it as much, was, not into it, or my godson and nephew. It was very difficult to find games where, a group of people could get together who had all sorts of different skill levels and interests and dexterity. It was almost impossible to find a game that everyone could play at the same time, right? And even, of course, on mobile, on mobile, you have 3 billion people play mobile games on the phone, and 200 million people play on console. So you have to ask yourself, why is less than 7% of the people who are playing video games in the world, why is only less than 7% playing on either the big 3 video game consoles or like hardcore gaming PCs as well? Why is that? So that's a really interesting thing to think about, right? 93% of the people in the world. So, I did a bunch of research and paid research, and, because I had this idea of Amico, and you start asking people, and they all were kind of saying the same things. Why do you play mobile? Why do you play video games but don't play on those other systems? Even, including the Nintendo Switch. Do you have 55 million people have Nintendo Switch. Again, let's do the math on that. So 3 billion people play video games every day, but 55 million have a Switch. That's 2%. So 2% of the people who play, because, people always say, well, how can Amico exist if the Nintendo already does? Because 98% of the people who play video games don't play a Switch. I think there's probably some room in there for something different and unique, And so, that's the thing. And the 4 pillars of the company are simple, affordable, family, entertainment. And my 2 biggest goals with our consumers and customers are to bring them trust and value. Those are the 2 biggest things for us. We want value and trust. Trust meaning, none of our games have, violence or bad language or sexual content, none of that stuff. It's all, well, in Europe, it would be Peggy 3 or Peggy 7. Here in the US, it's, E for everyone, or E10 plus. So those are the types of games. Those are the only games that we have on our console. We don't have violence, don't have blood, don't have sexual content, bad language, this and that. And then, so that's one trust. And the other part of that trust is that we curate everything 100%. You know, there's a report that just came out, Pete, that showed that there are 2 million games that came out last year across iOS and Android. That's 40,000 new games a week. So it's staggering, right? And so, and how many of those 40,000 are actually good? 1, 2, you know? And so that's the thing, is that we don't want to junk up our system. You even look on the Switch, and there's so much junk, in the e-store and the e-shop, and it just clogs everything up. And the shame about that is that the products that are good, you don't really ever find out about sometimes, because there's so much noise and so much. So our whole ecosystem and the way we approach it, and our developers love us for this, is that we're going to feature and highlight every developer. At least when that game comes out, we're only going to do one game at a time as they come out. Right now, we're launching with around 30 titles, and each one of those will get highlighted at different points throughout the year. But every new game, boom, it's the first thing you see when you turn the system on. New game, featured spotlight. And so that's pretty important as well. And so and the value proposition is all games are digitally $9.99 or less. The system comes with 2 controllers, which, these are pretty amazing in regards to, the technology, even though they're cheaper than the Joy-Cons and cheaper than, the Xbox and everything, but they actually pack a bigger punch, color touchscreen, speaker, microphone, light up LEDs and light up LED buttons, wireless contact charging, force feedback, of course, the color touchscreen, motion controls, accelerometer, and gyroscope. So it really is an amazing thing. And you get 2 of these. It's the first video game system in 30 years that actually comes with 2 complete controllers. People might say, oh, well, the Switch comes with 2 controllers. No, it comes with 1 controller that you can split in 2. And so the last console to come with 2 complete controllers was the Super Nintendo in 1990. And that should tell you all you need to know about our value proposition here, is that you get 2 of these plus 6 full games and on the system, and all games are $9.99 for less, and all that for the same price that the Wii was 15 years ago.
Yeah. My question really is, with the price,
that was a long elevator ride, by the way. That was like 80 floors up, but it's okay.
Yeah, no, it's good. I know you've done it a lot, and you're probably sick of saying it now, but
you've probably heard it. You're probably sick of me hearing it. I'm surprised you asked it.
Yeah, well, I've been watching it for 2 years, so yeah.
Really?
But I'm just thinking with the price as well, because obviously the games are $10 or less. Will that just translate as £10 or less? Because normally the exchange rate doesn't really come into it.
That's a great question, Pete, and I don't know the answer. I probably should, but that type of question is something that my CFO would answer in a second. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure. It might be. I don't know how it translates. We have like controllers and CFOs and accountants, and even our back end tech people who are dealing with that, because you have provider, the people who take the money and this and that, and do they charge more over in Europe? Like I actually don't know. So I'll learn today though, and I'll get back to you.
No, it's good. I mean, that's what I've liked about watching you for the last 2 years.
I'm honest.
Extremely honest. Sometimes probably too much, but yeah.
For my sometimes not in a good way. Meaning people jump on me. I might say something last year, and then something will change.
Exactly, yeah.
And then people say, "Oh, you're a liar." Well, no, I'm not a liar. I wasn't lying at the time. That's what we thought was happening. So
I sometimes wonder, is it a generation thing as well? Because I'm a little bit younger than you, but I, like yourself, I know I can read between the lines. I know when you're joking, when you're not.
Right.
I know that things change over time. And I think the problem is, for the last 2 years, you've really had the approach of showing the Amico, saying, we're making this machine. And now for 2 years, we're now going to show you bit by bit how you construct a console, how you change things, how you change the controller. You may add things, you may take things away. We're going to show you the games from scratch. We're not going to show you them completely shiny. They're going to be in the early stages, like beta. And a lot of people don't seem to understand that.
They're very disconnected to that, aren't they? And again, you know, my goal with doing it that way was twofold. One is I wanted to take people on a journey with me, you know, like for the people who are interested, folks like yourself. And, you know, I thought, like, wouldn't it be cool? Because you never see that with hardware, right? It's always like, again, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X, what do we really know about it? Well, we kind of know what it looks like. And, you know, it has lots of terafloppings, and let's hope they don't teraflop. And the games look, you know, like amazing and stuff, you know, but we don't even know the price 2 months out from release, right? And so everyone's very, very secretive when it comes to that. And I'm like, you know what, let's do something a little different. So I wanted to take people on the journey with me, because we do see kind of this culture, like, you know, like when you see on like a Kickstarter or Indiegogo campaign, where it's like, hey, you know, once they supported a game or a product, they start to give updates of the game being made. I know, like I've done 5 very successful Kickstarter projects for my music. And when we were making the albums, we're like, okay, here we are in Prague recording the string section, and here we are recording the choir, and here we are, and now we're at Skywalker Ranch mixing it. So people felt like they were a part of it from the beginning, watching this whole thing made, and then they get a final product kind of thing. So I always found that to be fun, and people really enjoyed that. So that's why I kind of you know, looked at this project like that, say, you know what, no one's ever seen something being built from the beginning, and all the trials and tribulations and the things that need to be changed and fixed. And oh my gosh, now the price has to go up, all those things. Let me take those, you know, people along with me. So that was one reason. And then the second reason is to help build interest and grassroots, you know, for certain people who are interested, which isn't costing us any advertising dollars at all. Look at the tens of thousands of people, Pete, that are following us. I mean, I can tell you our mailing list just over the last year has gone up by 30,000 people, right? And that's significant when it's just me talking about it for the most part, right? And, you know, we put out interesting, funny videos sometimes, or interesting things, but we're not spending any advertising dollars. So again, if I was very secretive about everything, and I released the very first trailer about this like yesterday, because we're coming out in 8 months from now or 7 months from now, so let's release this first trailer. Imagine the last 2.5 years would have been erased, and all those thousands of videos that are out already on YouTube, all of the discussions, all of the excitement, all of that stuff wouldn't be there. So again, you know, so those are the two main reasons why I did that. But you're right, though. You know, I think it is a generational thing. I think, you know, younger people, you know, they you know, the Twitter culture, if you will, or the cancel culture has you know, put people on notice. Anything you say 5 years from now, you're going to get called out on. You know, I think it's an awful thing that where, you know, social media has become, specifically Twitter too. And, you know, when you're anonymous on a message board or on YouTube, and you're anonymous, and, you know, then you feel you can feel like I can say is the nastiest things ever, because it has no repercussions for me. Forget the person who puts themselves out there and who takes all the risks and who wants to just bring something fun and new and unique and beautiful to the world to bring people together. Yeah, forget that guy. Screw him. I can be anonymous. And so let me just trash him. You know, so there's that kind of weird mentality. And I do think it's a generational thing. Yeah, I think you're right.
It's a clash. It's difficult because I'm 43 this year, so there's a bit of a difference between me and your age. But I do class as Generation X according to
you're Gen X, yeah.
So I think anyone younger than us, it's more like the 20s, I suppose, and younger.
Yeah,
you're right when it comes to like this. I mean, it's very much an American thing with the cancel culture, but it is starting to drift because of the internet and social media. I know, exactly. And so I do think that's where all the problem comes in, is that a lot of people have been raised to think a certain way, whereas we weren't. We were just, basically, if you've got a problem with someone, you say it to the face, you deal with it, it's done, you move on. A lot, they don't know, they make videos and they hide behind fake accounts and all this sort of thing.
Yeah, like I would have never have done that growing up. Even, you know what I mean? Like I would have never done anonymous, whatever, even if it did exist, I wouldn't want to be anonymous, but it's different. Now, that being said, there's also a lot of younger kids who love the system and who are positive about it after they learn about it, and so I think that's the thing, is that, again, the overwhelming majority of people who hear about what we're doing are positive for it. I mean, all you have to do is look on any of our videos and you'll see, 100,000 views and like 200 dislikes. Yeah, exactly. So again, it's like 0.1% or 0.1% of 1%. So it's always that, kind of the negative complainers are always the ones who are the loudest sometimes,
Absolutely.
But the reality is that the average normal, person who finds out about it is positive about it, or they just don't say anything, but we have the market research to know how they really feel, especially our target audience. Cause that's the other thing, is that, you'll find that the people who, the people who dislike the product are the ones who it's not intended for anyway. So it's like, if I'm a heavy metal band and I'm trying to get country music people to like heavy metal, it's like, well, no, they're gonna piss all over you, right? So that's why I don't even really I don't even care if they like it or not, because you're not our target audience anyway, but whatever. So that's something else that doesn't click with them. They don't quite understand it because of the bubble that they're in, that, well, if I don't like it, then the rest of the world can't like it either. That's the mentality. Again, it's a very strange thing.
The thing that always gets thrown at me for some reason, which I find odd, is I don't understand why you're so excited for this console. And it's
right.
I try and explain it, and it's like, it's because it's cool. It's a great system. I mean, obviously it's difficult because I've spent 2 years finding out about the system, watching video after video after video. You in focus? You okay?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
So you spent 2 years, and you're excited about it. You're generally excited about it.
And
how dare you, Pete? How dare you like the color red when I like the color blue? How dare you pray to a certain God when I pray to a different one? How dare you like a certain political party when mine's different? Why are you?
Go there. Don't go with politics, Jesus.
No,
especially not now.
Right.
But yeah, I just think at the end of the day, I've watched 2 years worth of videos from multiple YouTubers. I've watched all the Intellivision videos. I've watched pretty much every interview you've done with everybody on YouTube. And for me, at least, you've always been the same person from day one to now. Nothing's changed. You're just Tommy. You're just a really nice guy. Yeah, you've been very successful. You've got a great life and all of that. But for me, it feels like you're still a very grounded person. You haven't let the fame go to your head. And you're really just doing this because you have a love for making games, music, technology.
Exactly.
It's what you want to really be passionate
I'm enjoying it. I'm not, I mean, I could have retired 10 years ago,
Exactly.
There's no reason for me to be putting myself out there and, especially, my career, was a very comfortable place, and people loved video games live. They loved my music. I certainly didn't have to risk people thinking I'm a nut job or crazy and stuff. But again, I don't do things for those people. You do things for yourself, and you do things because you have a general passion for them. And something my grandfather and father instilled on me at a very young age was, never do anything for the money. Do it because you're passionate about it. And then the money and success will follow later, because your passion will come out and people will recognize that. And that's the other kind of, funny thing that you might hear some people saying like, oh, this is just a scam and he's just scamming people. It's really, why would I have to scam people if I'm financially comfortable, career comfortable? What would be the end goal of that? Like, it's just so stupid.
I mean, I would probably say as well, because obviously 2 years ago, I wasn't aware of your career. I'm not somebody that follows like people in the industry.
Sure.
I know all like the big names like Phil Harrison, Jack Tretton, Reggie, all those kind of guys, and obviously
Miyamoto,
exactly, and Peter
Will
Moore,
Wright,
and all the people that really they're out there.
Molyneux, your British buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, not really fan of his games, but but the way I see it is that people probably might look at the project, and because they don't know who Tommy Tallarico is and they haven't Googled you, which take like 2 minutes, and then they haven't found out like who David Perry is or any of the other people like Scott Samora or anybody else that's working on your team, they don't understand this is not just some guy who's in a basement doing a Kickstarter. This is legitimate people have been doing this for decades, have come together for a new project.
And it really is one of the big differentiators of like something like us, like people love to say, oh, it's the next Ouya. Well, there's so many things that one, we're not crowdfunded. Two, we have 600 years experience on our executive team, which Ouya did not have. Three, the person running the company has 32 years of real video game making experience. Ouya didn't have that. And we know games. We're all of the people on our executive team are except for marketing, but are game makers, right? Game makers, so we've been on the other side of that coin and have made some of the greatest products in the video and biggest selling and most award-winning products the game industry has ever seen. That's our team. So do you think all those people are idiots and don't know what they're doing? But also too, we have major distribution out of the gate. Ouya didn't have that initially, right? And so, and we have a very clear target audience, which is much different from what Ouya was. And we have a whole bunch of really amazing licensors and partners like Major League Baseball, Mattel, Hot Wheels, Sesame Street. I mean, I could go on and on. Plus, we're paying people to do games for us. We're not paying people to port games that already appear on Android to put them on our system, right? So everything that we're doing is very different and very unique than some of the other companies who've kind of tried to do this and fail. But I do give props. Yeah, I know how hard it is. They call it hardware for a reason. So I give Ouya props for trying. Because it's not same with the Atari VCS. I mean, you got to give them props for trying. Do I think they're doing everything, or would I do things differently if I was CEO of Atari instead of Intellivision? Absolutely. There's a bunch of different things, but again, you don't want to disparage those folks because I'm sure the box will make it out, and it might be a really cool like Steam box for your living room or something where you could play a lot of Steam games like that, so you never want to put anyone down or who's trying. And again, it's a very different mentality, right? Something that,
exactly, positivity. It matters.
Yeah.
I do think like with the games, like you said there, obviously like porting games over, just to clarify, because somebody will pick this up. Obviously like Rigid Force Redux, the Evil Knievel game, they have been on other platforms previously, but the difference being is obviously the controller with your system is the thing that's going to really differentiate the Amico version.
Well, not only that, like Evil Knievel is a perfect game. Like we keep hearing this ridiculous, like as if it's some kind of like bad thing. Like, oh my God, this game, Evil Knievel, the name of it, this game was already on mobile that you can buy for like $5 or whatever. That's horrible. It's like, really? Because I don't know, 90% of all games on every console are on different consoles. But people say, but you're a liar because you said every single game would be exclusive. Yeah, they are. So no matter how much people want to try to change that statement and make it not true, it's still true. What is the definition of exclusive? Something that you cannot get anywhere else. So I ask, Pete, can you get rigid force redux in multiplayer anywhere else except Amico?
Exactly. That's the point.
That means it's exclusive to Amico. But the funny one though is the Evel Knievel one, because we're adding multiplayer. We've added more graphics. We've changed the graphics, some of it. We've added a lot more ragdoll physics. We've added audio, levels, more vehicles, again, multiplayer, different ways to control it with our controller. The only thing that's the same is like the name, and some of the graphics, and and parts of the game are the same style of gameplay, but everything else different. Yet people will go crazy. Oh my God, that's not an exclusive game. Yes, it is. Sorry, doesn't matter how you want to turn it. Completely exclusive. What else do you have to change when you've changed the graphics, the gameplay, the controls, the audio, added more vehicles, and added multiplayer? But it's the same game. Like it's literally, it's insane. So so every game is exclusive on Amico, and we're proud of that. Now, some games have previous history, but they're not the same game. So
yeah, exactly.
And why wouldn't you want to do that? Why wouldn't you want to take something that was successful? Because people could say, well, Missile Command, that's not exclusive. Missile Command came out 40 years ago. But we've changed the graphics and added multiplayer. So what's the difference between Missile Command from the original arcade to our Missile Command, and Evel Knievel to our Evel Knievel? You know what I mean? Like what?
This is the thing. I mean, everybody throws it at me saying like, well, you can just play those games on your PlayStation, or you can play them on a mobile device.
No, you can't. You can't play multiplayer Rigid Force on a PlayStation. No, you can't.
But you can't play the even if you took the multiplayer out, you couldn't play the version of the game that the Amico's got on any other system because of that controller, because of the technology.
Exactly. And everything's being, and Pete, that's the next couple of videos that we're going to be putting out are really going to revolve around that. We're going to do a hardware video first, which is going to really kind of dig deep into the hardware and the technical specs, and the design specs, and why we designed the thing the way we did, both from a technical standpoint and visual standpoint. That's coming next. And then after that, we're going to be doing a deep dive with the controller, showing how unique all of the games are and why. We showed a little bit of it when you saw like moving your thumb around for Missile Command, or using the screen for side swipers to, set traps after you crash out. So we're going to be doing a lot more of that, showing the controllers and the, the app being used in a very unique way. Because that's a question a concern that people have, is like, well, like you said, a lot of people are asking that question. Well, why can't I just play it, on a mobile device, or play it on a PlayStation? Because you won't be able to. But until I show them that, and we've started showing them that, but every person doesn't see every video and interview I do. Of course not. It'd be impossible. Only Snestastic Pete has done that, and OEB Pete.
And Jeff and Go Game Go.
And and those guys, and so that's the thing. So it's our responsibility to keep showing people. And again, we do a little bit at a time, right? You saw in our Amico event, you saw us using. I wanted to show how simple the app was to use games, on the spades game. Oh wow, look, you can you can pick a card. Everybody has a thing on their card. Or we showed the dice demo, people shaking the dice and then throwing it up on screen. We did a video on that. So, we show little things, but again, sometimes people will get upset. How come you don't show us everything now? Well, because we're still 7 months away and we want to, do things a little bit at a time. So, but we think it's time to do a proper video, a higher level quality professional video showing the real uniqueness of the screen on the controllers.
Well, this is interesting because I know, well, at least I assume there's some stuff you still, whether it be for patents or you just hold the information back to bring it out to us, that we haven't seen from the controller yet. Yeah, exactly. So I'm because every time I look at that controller, I think of all the possibilities. And I'm not a game developer, but I think, well, you could do this with the buttons, or you could use the screen for this, or this for that. Yeah. And you got the motion control. The guy who does Breakout, that video is fantastic.
You like that?
Yeah. The excitement in his face, and he was like, "We've been looking for the perfect controller," and then the Amico came, and it's like, aha, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing is that, you know, the basis of the Amico event was to because everyone's always just seen me talking about this thing for almost 3 years or whatever, right? And so what the biggest goal of that video was to show people around the world, the hundreds of people who don't even work for Intellivision, but are, you know, I mean, we showed people who work for us as well too, but we wanted to show the excitement level of the people all over the world who are making games for this thing. And boy, did we knock that out of the park, right? In fact, we're releasing that developer section of that video. We're releasing that today as a special chunk, you know, because we're going to, you know, kind of cut things up and then release them so that people don't have to watch the full hour and 20 minutes. But, and that was really important, right? To see people around the world excited as we are, talking about how incredible the controller is. Don't take my word for it. How about all of these people, you know, who are making games for it and who have been for over a year and a half? How are they excited about it? You know, so that was the main purpose of that video. You know, nothing more than that, and to announce the delay and to announce some new retail partners and some new licenses. So those were our big goals: licenses, the new launch date, retail partners, and to show the developers. And of course we announce some new games that no one had ever seen before. And in those 5 categories, we knocked it out of the park.
I've got to agree. I actually thought the event was fantastic. I've gone back and watched like my favorite parts every couple of days. I know. I know. I said on the Amico All Access, I don't know if it was before we went live, and Pete said, "Oh, what have you been doing?" I said, "Well, I was just watching the event an hour ago," and they was all like, "Again," but I can't get enough of it. And my favorite part was the bit that you were talking about with all the developers, because that was cool. Showcase, you know, seeing everybody around the world, all different languages, all different cultures, and knowing that everybody, I get the impression at least that you would have said to them, just film something and we'll put it in the clip. It wasn't like, can you speak positively about my product?
No, that's exactly what we did. Yeah. We said, look, just send us like 2 or 3 minutes of video of what you like about Amico and why, and I took one, you know, I'd take 1 or 2 little lines from those videos, and I made that compilation thing, put some cool music behind it, and that was it. Yeah, there was no script, there was no, hey, can you make sure you talk about the controller? Can you make sure you talk about how you're doing this or that? No, talk about your product, put it up there, and you know. So, and I loved in your, because I saw a video of you talking about it, and people don't realize, I think in America, how cool it was. But, you know, we showed, you know, Mike, one of the original, Mike Montgomery, one of the original.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah, exactly.
Right. And so in the US, maybe not a lot of people, because, you know, the Commodore, the Amiga, those kind of things weren't as popular as they were over in the UK. But tell people a little bit, like when you saw the Bitmap brothers, Mike Montgomery, you know, like talk me through it, because I'd love to hear from you about it.
It's funny because obviously I tweeted you about that.
Did I give you a wouldn't that be something?
Well, no, you actually gave me a like, which made the tinfoil hat go on when you did that.
I'm surprised I didn't just straight up wouldn't that be something.
Well, I was expecting that, but it basically, as I was watching the development, it went through the different people, and it got to Mike, and it went, I'm the founding member, or one of the founding members of Bitmap Brothers. I thought, oh, hang on. And it was a card game, and I was like, shit. But I mean, that's going to be a really good base to start. But really,
well, that's where they're going to start, Pete. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're going to. he wants to start with this game because it's an easy game to do, and it's a great kind of introductory. But make no mistake, these guys, we're going to have them doing like, they're on to Warlords next, and then and then on to other stuff after that. So
yeah, well, obviously for the American people that are watching this and the Canadians as well, there is a game that they made which was called the Chaos Engine, which was massive on the Amiga. In America, it's called Soldier of Fortune or Soldiers of Fortune on the Super Nintendo and the Genesis. Yeah, fantastic game. And I think if it's ever possible to bring that to the Amico and update it, it's perfect multiplayer game. It'd be absolutely.
No, we've already had conversations about what Bitmap Brothers games, would we like to bring in, and do they still own them, right? Because he sold, they sold the company off, and so they might not have rights. But a similar style game that could be brand new. So what are their strengths, of what they do? And so that's what we do with all our developers. We sit down with super talented developers from around the world, and we don't like push product on them, say, here, we want you to do Frog Bog. It's more like, what we do is, what are your passions? What are your passions? Here's a whole bunch of stuff we'd like to get done. Is there anything on this list that, oh my God, we love Missile Command. Please, can we do Missile Command? Missile Command. That was my favorite game growing up. Okay, you're the right people to do Missile Command then. We're not just, let's hire some company and just hire them to do a Missile Command game. No, the passion for everything that we're doing is there. And Pete, that is so damn important, and people overlook it and people don't talk about it. But again, that's why I wanted to show, the developers the way we did during that event.
Well, this is what I thought when I sent that tweet to you. I wondered how you'd respond to it anyway. But because if anyone doesn't much follow me on Twitter, I actually asked Tommy outright, because Mike Montgomery is going to be a part of the team, is he going to be working on maybe bringing back Speedball 2, Chaos Engines, and onto Gods, any of the great bitmap games? So that's really cool to hear that, because I did feel that maybe it was that Mike said to you, I want to do, was it Lies Dice? I think he's doing
He did. He picked that.
I figured that might
be
the case.
His. Yeah.
That's the thing I love about Intellivision and yourself, is that you're so open. As you said, you're funding development. It's not like they've got to try and find their own money to do this.
Right.
So that's
we basically go to developers and say, hey, look, we want to build your dream and your passion, where, and we'll fund it. Go, that, because look, all of us, and again, the executives at Intellivision, we've all been around. We've all done projects that we just did for the money, and they never come out great. It's the ones like the Earthworm Gyms and the Guitar Heroes and the Tony Hawk Pro Skaters, the stuff that we were so passionate about making. Those are always the best games. So that's something that we learn over 32 years, and other companies like Atari, like Ouya, maybe have not gone through that. Maybe they haven't done 30 years of game development to understand and know that, that the best games are the ones that people enjoy making, So that's a very, and again, I don't really talk about that too often, but it's such an important element of success that we're seeing straight across the board for all of our games.
Yeah, it's a brilliant thing. Again, it's yet another reason why I'm back in the Amico. When you've got the GTO Red for sale, I'll be buying one.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We got it coming. We're gonna we'll be announcing it soon. By the end of the year, we'll figure out who's going to be selling that exclusive in the UK.
And so I will say as well, anybody who is interested, the White Amico is already on Amazon UK as well.
Oh, is it? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I know. Again, the company now, we have like 40 employees worldwide. We have, 4 major offices: Salt Lake City, Utah, Irvine, California, Dubai in the UAE, United Arab Emirates, and then of course Germany and Nuremberg. And it's so, there's so many different things going on. And, like if you were to ask Hans, Episch, the president of Germany, he would have been able to answer that question about is it going to be pounds or dollars over here? You can't know everything when the company's now expanding and growing so big. We have 3 more people that we hired last week, and we're hiring 3 more people this week. So, that's how crazy it is. It's starting to get to a point where I don't know people's first names. I'm like, oh no,
It's interesting you bring up the Germans as well, because that sounds like it could go in the wrong direction. But I know I watched yesterday the retro stream that you were on 2 days ago on Gamescom.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That was a really good event, because I found it really cool to see that the one guy, I can't remember his name, I think it's Richard, I'm not sure. He's doing the reshoot games on the Amiga.
Yeah. We've been talking to him over the last couple of days.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool, because it was him and the other guy who got that other shooting game. I don't know what that was. And you were straight on it. I was watching it going, go on, Tommy. I thought that was so cool. So I have a question as well. With the developer part of the special events, there was one moment where there was a guy called Stefan Berenson from BBG Entertainment.
Yes.
And he was wearing a Balderdash t-shirt.
Yep.
Is that from Amico?
Yeah. Did we not announce that yet? I thought we had that at some point. In one of our videos or press releases. I don't know, maybe not. But yeah. Oh, definitely Balderdash is coming to the Amico for sure. Coming to Amico.
Yeah. See, I find it interesting, because obviously you are getting developers around the world. Now you say you've got Mike from the Bitmaps. Are you looking to get any more of like the European developers on side in the UK?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
We're talking to we've talked to 2 last week, and we have another one we're speaking to tomorrow.
And you still
we're always looking for new people who are as excited, because now we have 50 developers working on about 60 games that are going to be completed around launch, and most of which we're going to be completed, half of which we're going to be completed in October. So we're having them move on to round 2 of game development, and as they'll be moving on to round 2, as those projects kind of come to close, we're also bringing in a new pack of brand new developers as well too. Again, all hand-picked, all passionate about what we're doing.
That's great. And I know you said on Twitter the other day, which did make me laugh, I think it's Generational Gamer, he tweeted out about a new Turrican that's coming out. And straight away I said, oh, that'd be really cool if it's on your Amico. And you just tweeted back going, already on it. And I was like,
which one was that?
The Turrican, I think it's a multi.
The Turrican thing. Yeah, we've been talking to those guys for 3 months. Yeah.
Even better.
The Factor 5 and great guy. And I mean, I've known the composer of Turrican is
Chris Holzbeck.
Chris Holzbeck, thank you.
Yeah.
I lost my saying.
I know.
I've known Chris for probably almost 28 years. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's good then, because that's one of my favorite games from the Amiga era. So, yeah, that'd be brilliant. How would you do multiplayer with that? I'm not too sure how that would work.
I'd have to think about it more. I mean, sometimes some of our games, like Finnegan Fox is a perfect example where, that's a single player platform game, but there's certain levels in the game where 2 people, force scroll flying levels, where we expand on those and, have kind of a fun, 2-player race, if you will. So there are ways to do it. Maybe something like that, but I'm not sure,
Yeah, I'm sure it'll work out anyway.
Yeah, all of our games, because, again, every game is single player, every game has multiplayer as well. Yeah. Obviously, some games are going to have way more in-depth multiplayer than others. Some of it is just really simple style multiplayer. Other of it, the whole game revolves around, like a game like Bomb Squad, where it's better to play multiplayer than single player. But a game like Finnegan Fox, yes, there's, the bulk of it is single player, but there is a fun multiplayer mode, as well if you want.
That game looks fantastic. I mean, that's right at the top of my list, that one.
Yeah.
I do have a question as well in terms of the hardware, because obviously you said you're going to go more deep into the hardware. Is that going to be the controller, or is it going to be the controller and the console? Or
the controller and the console, but from the again, but the hardware video that we're talking about, when we talk about the controller, again, it's mostly going to be like what's inside here and why we made the design decisions, the buttons and how they came to be, the back and the the curvatures and the weight of it, and why this is here and not on this side, and why we went with this as opposed to the Qi. The Qi charging. So that's it. So it's going to be more about that as opposed to let's play a game with this. We're going to do a whole separate video of just that. Where the first video is more based around design and how it changed and why it changed and where it sits today.
Oh, that's good. I noticed in the end of the special event when you were playing skiing, I was looking at both the black and the white. And you can see, I mean, I might be wrong, but it looked to me like they've gone lower profile. They were a bit slimmer. There've been like little differences. And this might just be me, and it might be a fantasy that I would love to see. But with the black console I was looking at, it kind of had, I know you've got a lot of influence from like Ferrari and sports cars with the fins up the side and all of that.
Yeah.
Was there
Lamborghini too, a little Lamborghini.
Yeah. Was there any kind of influence from like old consoles, like say the Atari Jaguar? Because that some of it does look like it came from that era.
Nuts. I mean, I liked the design. I mean, maybe subconsciously, because I always liked.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the design of the Jaguar. But one of the things. It's funny. Some people will make fun of us because it's like, well, it looks like a foot bath or it looks like a baby monitor, and I'm like, okay, so let me send that back to you. Who buys baby monitors and foot baths? Do tell. Oh, moms. Who's our target audience? Oh, moms. If I was creating a machine that I was targeting the hardcore gamers, let me tell you something. It would look nothing like the Intellivision Amico. It would look like a spaceship or something. So again, people need to understand who the target market is, and again, the market research. Do you think we just like came up with this thing and then just threw it out there and go, yeah, let's go with this? You don't think that we, had hundreds and hundreds of people look at different designs and say, I like this over that, or I like this over that? I mean, at the end of the day, I need to make the final choice. And 9 times out of 10, the thing that I thought my gut was, ends up being the right thing. So that's a good thing. That's good news for me. But that 1/10 thing where I'm like, oh gosh, okay, yeah, no. But you know what? It's overwhelming. So, okay, one of those things, by the way, was the buttons, like originally, as I had the 2 buttons here and here, and we had that design for a long time. In fact, the first versions of the machine that we were playing as far back as a year and a half ago at E3, and we would play the controller, and it just like, man, you could do so much more if they were like this, as opposed to, putting 2 things here. It didn't work. So it was like, originally I was kind of like, oh gosh, I don't know. But then it, does it lose the DNA? And it's 100 times better, So those are the kind of things that we do. And again, anyone who thinks we're just doing this willy-nilly on just based around luck is they don't know what they're talking about.
Well, this is it. I mean, you've done, as you said, done a lot of research. You've done focus testing both in person before lockdown and digitally since then as well.
Yeah,
you're a legitimate company. You're not, as I say, a fly-by-night. You're a lot of people involved. For me personally, as I said earlier, I wasn't aware of a lot of the people, including yourself, your careers.
Sure.
And so the big rubber stamp. I knew David Perry because of in the 90s.
Yeah, he's big in the UK. He was always
exactly. And then the big thing for me was the one day I was just sitting watching TV, the phone beeps, I pick my email up, open up the email, it's Intellivision. I'm like, oh, okay, what's that? Open it up, Jay Allen's joined Intellivision.
Right.
And that just knocked me off my seat. So I was like, how the hell did that happen? It's absolutely. I mean, a lot of people might not know who Jay is, but to me,
He's
yeah, I'm a big Xbox guy at the time.
Oh, so you know, yeah, you know.
Oh God, yeah. Him and Peter Moore were like absolute gods back then. So it's quite crazy that he's joined the team. I listened to the Fireside podcast that you did with Jay.
Wasn't that great?
It was fantastic. It was really good. Mainly because I really wanted to hear Jay as well. I wanted to hear why he joined and what his reasons were.
Yeah, and you know I can tell you the greatest thing that Jay has brought to us and continues to bring to us is kind of like, because he's been through it all, from a, starting from scratch, because again, no one knew Microsoft and this and that.
Exactly. That is actually a good point.
They didn't know Microsoft as a game company when he started, doing the Xbox. But one of the things is that he really, his sense of keeping us all in check in regards to keeping everything simple, keeping everything, but not trying to do too much and to overextend. It's better to do one thing really great than to spread ourselves too thin. And the other big thing he said, because, we were trying to like fit all of this stuff, all this different things into the machine. And I remember him saying, he goes, yeah, but guys, remember, like Xbox, he was giving an example, like Xbox Live, we didn't have that on launch, like there's no issue in, I know you guys want to put all this stuff in, come out with the machine and great games first. And then 6 months later, you could do this, or a year later, you can add that. And you're adding to the system. It makes it even that much more cool. Like, oh, it's not just this thing, but we're going to be expanding all the time. And that was just like, wow. And even certain things like, when you turn on a machine, right? And it takes you like 20 minutes to set the damn thing up. What's your age? What's the date? What region you're in? What language do you want? Let's set up your Wi-Fi. Let's boom, 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 boom. And our whole thing was like, and Jay was, really on board for this and kept us to this, is like, look, in the old days, you take your Mega Drive Genesis out of a box, you plugged it to your TV, put the cartridge in, turned it on, and you could play, right? And so our boot up, our startup, the very first time you take it out of the box and you plug it in. So one of the things, which is a perfect example of this, is like, okay, well, there's certain things we have to do. Like we have to set up Wi-Fi on that. And Jay's like, why? Why do you have to set up Wi-Fi? You can play those 6 games right when you think that. Look, don't have people set up Wi-Fi in the beginning. When they want to go to the store area or download something new, then you can set up the Wi-Fi, because now there's a reason why they want to get to Wi-Fi, but right away, maybe they don't do that in the first 3 or 4 hours. And it's that whole, it was like, oh yeah, that's right. We don't have to follow all the rules. We don't have to, we can do, different things like that. So that's the kind of great, advice, that he's always throwing down on us.
I think that's the advantage really of being a newcomer to the game market as well. Because if you look back to like 1994, 95, when the PlayStation came out, everybody was saying, oh, Sony, what they're doing, they're a stereo company. They ain't got a clue what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing, right? How dare they try to take on Nintendo? They're going to fail miserably and blah, blah. And then Xbox comes along and then they get all the hate. Well, it's a stupid spreadsheet company. What do they know? I don't like Bill Gates and Microsoft. Oh, Halo, what? What's this Halo thing? You saw the same thing for Google Stadia now. Google's the biggest company, one of the biggest companies in the planet, the greatest infrastructure of any company out there, the most money, they have spend $1 billion, and yet they're stumbling out of the gate, right? So like, what does that tell you about how hard this is to get out there? But again, instead of people, you'd think that people would want to root for, the little guy, right? And so that's kind of, what we're, we're building a fan base around that. Like, let's we want these guys to succeed. We want these guys to succeed. And anyone who doesn't, should pretty much get their heads checked.
I agree. I mean, it's just crazy to me because when I ever see those arguments, as I say, you've got Sony, no one believed it. Microsoft, no one believed it. Intellivision's coming out, no one believes it. And it's like every time someone says that, it's going to be successful now.
Right. I mean, that's that. I like our chances now. Yeah. The fact that we have so many, folks out there who love the machine, and a little bit of people out there who hate it so much. It's like, well, that's a good thing, right? Where people are talking about, they're so passionate. Even those handful of haters, it's like we're on their mind every day, and they're so passionate about hating it. Yeah. Like we're interesting to them. Like if we were boring and we sucked, then who would pay attention? Then they wouldn't care. No one would care, right? So it's kind of all of those signs point to something really cool. But just remember this too, Pete. You'll remember this. When the Wii first was announced, everyone said, "Oh, Nintendo finally lost their marbles. What an idiot. I hate the name Wii." I still hate the name Wii personally, but
right, yeah.
it sucked. But I get it. Like we, like a group, more than one people, right? But I don't know about in the UK, but over here in the US, Wii is also something,
exactly. Yeah.
Like, you take a, what do they say in the UK? You take a slash.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? It's
not
exactly. It's not the UK term for having a piss.
Yeah.
Anyway, but when the Wii came out, so many people were detractors. By the way, I'll go on record as saying I was one of them. I was like, oh my God, Nintendo's lost their mind, this and that. And then you get to play it. And then it's like, I remember the day my mom called and said, yeah, I want to buy one of these Nintendo Wiis. What can you tell me about it? And all of a sudden it immediately changed. This is before the system even came out. And I'm like, wow, my mom is interested in playing video games again. I bow to Nintendo's greatness. Like, this is amazing. Like, they got my mom interested in buying and playing video games. Man, and that kind of sense of that is exactly what we're doing with Amico times 1,000, right? And then, if you remember, Pete, what did everybody say when the Switch was announced? And Nintendo's got to get out of the business. They should just do like Sega. They got to get out of hardware. All they should do is just put put Mario and Zelda on the Xbox and the PlayStation. Sure. By the way, that would look awesome. But Nintendo's lost their mind. And again, and by this point, I was like, no way. Do not discount Nintendo. Never discount. Now, are you kidding me? Like, I learned after the Wii, right? And that was 15 years ago. Never to doubt, what the greatness of Nintendo. And again, though, do you think Nintendo ahead of time just built this box and threw it out there not knowing, if people are going to like it or not? Hell no. They do tons of market research. Give me a break. I know the people who helped to launch the Wii. They told me personally, it's like, yeah, never go on a hunch, especially, Pete, when you have massive investors giving you, millions and millions of dollars. And when you have, do you think we'd be able to get on the store shelves of GameStop and the likes of Amazon, on Walmart and Best Buy, store shelves, or, over in the UK, things like in Europe, like Saturn, Media Market, Coke Media, all that. Do you think that you can have those kind of partners, Major League Baseball, Mattel Hot Wheels, Sesame Street, if you don't have things that we can I wish I could show people half the stuff that we have and the reports and the videos, but I can't, because, when you do focus tests, you're there. It's kind of like, it's not hidden camera stuff. They know they're being recorded, but it's not for public consumption,
Yeah.
Again, we're not idiots. I'll leave it at that. And neither is Nintendo.
No, I think with Nintendo it was just the Wii U. That's really because everyone was burnt by that machine, so they just
The
thought
Wii
Switch.
U. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But it was weird because you look at Nintendo and you see the massive, overwhelming success that the Wii had
yeah,
because it was targeted to gamers and non-gamers, right? Over 30% of the people who bought a Wii never even bought another game for it because they were happy with bowling, right? And Nintendo first party didn't really put out a lot of more. I mean, they did like Wii Sports Resort, and then but the overwhelming majority of software wasn't for my mom, and
yeah.
so then, but you would have thought that, hey, let's take that success, and if we're going to call it the Wii U, which again, dumb name, but why not build on all of those, kind of casual and hyper casual gamers and all the things that you learned on the DS as well, and the 3DS and all that stuff. So that was kind of a weird one, the Wii U. I don't know what happened with that, but they're back on board with Switch, so that's all that matters. They're still around making great hardware.
Well, the Wii U was still a good console. I just think that the gamepad wasn't really well thought out, and I think
it wasn't. No,
yeah, it was the design. It was like they were clearly trying to do the Switch too early. I think that's all it was.
But they went away from their core too. I think of doing multiplayer. Like, why did my mom want a Wii? It wasn't to play bowling by herself. It was because others can all play. She could get a group of people to play, and you didn't see a lot of that focus. Kind of casual playing multiplayer on the Wii. If you wanted to buy a second gamepad, it was $179.
I do wonder if it was really a case of they did the Wii, they had all that success with Wii Sports, and obviously Ubisoft were doing their Just Dance and all of those type of games, which were great for the casuals. But I feel like Nintendo may have thought that they were losing their original audience, and that's why they sort of shifted the Wii U to the hardcore.
I think that's a fair comment. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame, but they live and learn. They're doing very well now. So, right, okay. So, what I was going to ask you as well, I watched an interview recently that you did back in 2018 with Rich from Review Tech USA.
Okay.
It's a very old interview, and I think it might be one of the early ones you did. And something that really caught my ear was that you talked about the console itself. We know that the lights are going to play a part in the interaction with multiplayer, and I'm assuming there's probably going to be more hardware that you haven't talked about. You mentioned in the video that, in the interview, that you likened it to a Furby in terms of being a family thing that, brings the family together and isn't just a box on the shelf. I just wonder if you could really expand on that and explain what you meant.
I can't really expand on it too much because there's a major thing about the console that we haven't announced yet and won't be announcing closer to, but that's great that you picked up on that because not many people have.
That's what I wanted to ask you.
And but let me say this: when you think of your Xbox, your Switch, your PlayStation, you don't really have like an emotional connection to the box itself, right? It's components and computer boards and plastic and metal, right? Electronics. Now you get emotionally connected to the things that that it delivers, like the games, right? But for the most part, it's just a black box or whatever, a square or a rectangle sitting in front of you or behind you or whatever. Whereas Furby is also something that is, that's electronics and nothing but wires and components. But you had this, you kind of have this emotional attachment. So is there a way where can you use electronics to have emotional feelings, right? If I can make a young kid or anyone laugh just by putting a controller down in the base or picking up a controller from the base and it does something funny, right? If I can get people emotional, like, oh my God, come here, watch this. Look at what happens when I do this or when we do that. Or, oh my God, did you see that on screen? Like that that doesn't happen all the time. I swear to God, I just saw that. It was weird. Those are the kinds of things that, again, we don't have the fastest processor or the greatest graphic chip or the most memory or the most teraflops. We don't have any teraflops. We are flopless. We don't have that stuff. But what we do have is our passion, our humor, our creativity, and how many of those kind of really cool things can we put into Amico that you get right on the first interaction you have with it. Even there's something that we're doing, Pete, when you open the box. When you open the box, we do something that no one's ever, and you see something that no one has ever done before in the history of the video game industry. And you're going to see this thing and you're going to be like, are you kidding me? What? Oh my gosh. And then, so anyway, there's things like that first experience. It's not just, it's a box that you're going to open and plug in and then start playing games on. There's more to it than that. And again, you think of a Furby, and when you turn your Furby on for the first time, his eyes were closed and his eyes opened up. Oh, and he woke up and it was like, oh my God, it's alive, and then you have this kind of emotional connection. So those are the types of things that I'm talking about. And I haven't really talked much about it. And, this is the most I've ever talked about it to anyone ever, actually. But on the record, but there's going to be those kind of experiences and things that are just going to be like, oh my gosh, that's so cool that they did that. Like so creative and so funny and so fun. And again, and kids are going to go crazy, and moms are going to go crazy. They're going to go nuts. Like, like how, just like cute little things here and there, like, oh my God, check this out. It's something to talk about. It's a bullet point that people will be like, hey, come over here. Look at this. Watch. Oh, it didn't do it that time. Oh, there it is. Oh my God. But it did it different this time. What the hell? So it's that.
How do you go about marketing with that kind of concept? Because I think
that's word of mouth. That's word of mouth.
Exactly. I know for kids it'd be really cool, but then it spoils the surprise. So you want to have it happen as they open the box, and
exactly, Pete. And that's why I don't talk much about it, and why I don't talk about like the box opening and this and that. Like if I talk about it, then and we even like show some of it, then people lose that moment that they discover it on their own. In their own homes when they open the box or when they take the controller off or whatever. So I'm not going to talk about it. Like I will not. I want people to discover that on their own. Now, once they discover it, then folks like yourself and everybody will start to make videos on it. But that word of mouth is okay. Because you'll be excited. You'll be able to emote how you felt and what happens. And again, hopefully you'll keep some of it secret as well, so that people can enjoy it on their own. But it's going to be one of those things where you're talking about it, you're doing videos on it going, this thing is so crazy. I opened the box and there was this thing, and then when I did this, it's something for you to talk about. It's not just a black rectangle,
I think the problem nowadays is, especially with social media, there's been a whole wave of negativity that's come over society. And everybody, since probably about 2016, I reckon, especially in the West, it's been a very negative vibe. Everyone's been split and angry. And the automatic reaction to anything new now is automatically, I hate it. And
I hate it.
Why can't you just give it a chance? I try and be positive about everything.
It's interesting, Pete. I was listening to, it was a podcast. So they didn't show the people's faces. And it was a couple of kids in their 20s. And they I didn't listen to the whole thing because I think it was like about 40 minutes or something. I listened to maybe 10 or 15 minutes. A lot of times you say, shouldn't you be working? Like, how are you? Like every morning I work out like on a treadmill for like hour to an hour and a half, and or I I also have a infrared sauna and things like that. So I'm always either reading or listening. And so I dedicate usually an hour and a half every day, as I'm doing that stuff. That's my time to, to catch up on stuff. And so I was listening to this thing, and it was really interesting because they hated it. They absolutely hated everything. Who the hell would want to buy this? And there's this concept of they don't want it. They don't think they want it. Therefore, the rest of the world must feel the same way we do. And it's just this really weird concept, that's, again, it's a generation thing, I think. But they said something that was so interesting to me along your lines that you just said. They said, the one kid at one point says, about halfway through, and I turned it off after this because I'm like, this is hilarious. I can't even, he goes, we're really hating on this thing. We're really tearing it apart. And I don't know why, but I guess it's just what our generation does. We just hate everything. Like, and it was just like, it was just like they were programmed to do that. Like that's just like, they were never going to give it a fair chance from the beginning. Here's something that's new, so we're going to rip the hell out of it because that's what we're supposed to do. But they were like questioning themselves for a second. They were like, gosh, we're being really harsh on this thing, but that's what our generation does. We just hate everything at the beginning. But then it's like, I thought, oh, maybe they're going to have an aha moment here and start to talk about, no, they just went back to crapping on it okay, well, I'm done. I'm out, So, but it is interesting though, because again, my parents never taught me to be like that, so, and again, I think it's like you said, I think it has something to do with social media. I think it has a lot to do with people being anonymous. Hey, let me be a smart ass and be mean, because I'm not going to feel the repercussions anyway, because no one knows who I am. So I can be as nasty as I want. And so anyway, I don't want to get too far into it, but I could talk about that for an hour.
I do think that, I said recently on Twitter that someone should create a social media that we can use, which if you talk about politics, you get thrown off. And just,
right. How about a social media platform where everything's just happy and positive?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
What I will say is there's something you talk about now and again called The Secret.
Yes. Now, have you read the book or seen the video?
I've watched that badly produced film. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's an older documentary.
Yes. Yeah.
But The Secret as a documentary, again, I recommend anyone spend an hour and 20 minutes, whatever it is. Please go watch that. If you're, the things in there that, again, you reap what you sow kind of, vibe is, if you always think, life sucks and everything's negative and, there's going to be so much traffic and the weather sucks and I'm going to miss my flight. And I'm going to do this. If that's the mindset that you're in, that's what you send out to the world and the universe and the energy, because we're all made up of energy. And, if that's the energy that you're always wallowing in, then that's the energy that's going to get back. That's what you're going to, whereas if you're the exact opposite of, I'm going to be successful and I'm going to think about being successful and I'm not going to stop until I'm successful, then the world changes for you. And it does. And it's absolutely true, Pete. I mean, I got my vision board right here. I think about succeeding every single day, sometimes multiple times a day, where I just sit back and do like a quick meditation about all of the things that I'm grateful for and thankful for that have, in my life, in my career, in my home, in my family, in my, and it could be simple things, but having those moments, those feelings of positivity and gratefulness, and then focusing on positive things as well. It makes a huge difference. I can't say it enough. And I got news for you. All of my most successful friends will tell you the exact same thing. And they all love The Secret and read the book and Positive Mental Attitude. Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, he talks about it as well, the power of positivity. It's just a fact, whether you're Oprah Winfrey or the greatest sports heroes, they don't doubt themselves. The greatest of the great, the most successful people don't. Now, some people might think of that, and I've been called this as well. Some people might think, oh, you're so egotistical. Well, no, that's something. There's a massive difference between ego and believing in yourself, right? That's a huge, huge difference. And for people who don't believe in themselves, they see somebody who is like that as someone being narcissistic or egotistical at all. But because I believe in myself and I think Amico is going to be successful, that's different from somebody who thinks they're better than everybody else. It's a completely different kind of thing. So yes, I'm positive and I'm confident. There's a big difference between confident and egotistical,
Absolutely. We've seen egotistical on the internet. Not mentioning.
To me, the egotistical people are the ones who hate on us every day, who think that, they actually think that whatever they believe, the rest of the world is going to believe. Have you ever heard me say the whole world is going to love this machine and everybody's going to love it? No, I say it's not for everybody. We have our certain target group, and we think it's going to be very successful from the market research that we've done, right? That's what I say. If I were to say everyone's going to love this, just like people say everybody's going to hate this and it's going to fail, that's the egotistical comment.
Yeah.
That's the ego.
I think after I watched that documentary, I tried to watch it a year ago when you first mentioned it. I got about 15 minutes in, found out what the secret was. I was like, that's enough. Turned it off.
No, you got to watch the whole thing, Pete.
No, exactly. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I was flicking through Netflix, got nothing to watch, and in my list was The Secret. I hadn't taken it off, so I thought, I've got an hour and a half, I'll watch that. So I put it on, and I watched the entire thing. And when you watch the entire thing, and as you say, just a simple thing, like if you're stuck in traffic, and if you're thinking negatively, thinking, I'm not going to get anywhere, the traffic's never going to move, we're going to be stuck here for hours, then it won't change. But it will if you're more positive. And I think more than that, because some people will say, oh, well, you can think positively, but that doesn't actually make things happen. But positivity will breed action. It will get you to do things. And the Amico All Access, the only reason I got on that show was because I watched The Secret. And basically, I put that into action. I was commenting on the video every week anyway. And I just kept thinking over and over in my head about, I would love to be on that show. Not thinking it would actually happen, but I tried to focus on it. I left a comment about a day or two later on the latest episode, and Pete wrote back, and instead of his usual, thank you very much for watching the video and interacting about whatever I'd said, the only thing he said to me was, oh, you should come on the show. And I was like,
there you go.
Oh, exactly. And then Mike Mullish jumped on as well on Twitter and said, oh, you should come on the show with us. And I was like, I'd love to get, and I just went, the whole thing where people used to say, like back about 20 years ago, it used to be a big thing about say yes to everything. And it's so true. If you just say yes, things will come your way. If you say no and you avoid things, you're going to get stuck.
Pete, I'm telling you, man, if you believe it, you can achieve it. If you believe something's going to happen, and because if you have faith in yourself, and you're never going to quit until you get it. But because if you're sitting there going like, yeah, I want to be an actor, but I'll never become an actor. I'll never, where it's like, as opposed to, I want to become an actor. I'm passionate about it. You know what? Every single day, not only am I going to think about it, but I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to try to meet people. I'm going to try to go on, different thing. I'm going to try to find agents. I'm going to take acting classes. I'm going to go on auditions. I'm going to do my headshot. I'm going to try to network with people, blah, 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 blah. That because you believe in yourself. I'm going to be an actor. It's not a matter of if, it's when. I'm going to do this. And when you have that kind of belief in yourself, and Pete, I want to tell you something. I'll give you a little story here that relates to what you just told me. So when you think of goals, right? When you set goals for yourself, and I think The Secret talks about this as well. You don't, at least I think the book does, but you don't have to, like, your first goal doesn't necessarily have to be, I want $1 million in my bank account next week. Like that's, start out with something small just to prove that it works. Right. And so for you, and then view that goal as, like let's say for single men or women out there, your goal might be, you know what, I want to meet somebody. Now, if you're sitting in your house going, oh, I'm never going to meet somebody, I suck, there's no one out there for me, blah, 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 blah. Or if you're like, I'm meeting somebody this week, I'm going to get out there, I'm going to go, I'm going to work, it's going to happen for me. You're much more open. Everything's open to, who do you think is going to have a better chance, right? But for your thing about getting on Amico All Access, you set a goal for yourself, you tried it, you believe it, you achieved it, right? So think of the next goal that you set for yourself. And that's why a vision board is so important, because you look at it every single day. I always view that as my goals are like mountains. They're like mountain ranges, right? And some are small, some are medium, some are huge, some are Mount Everest. Amico is Mount Everest, right? And once you've climbed to the top of one mountain, let's say a small mountain, there's lots of perils along the way. You don't know how you're going to get to the top. You don't know when you're going to get there. You just know that you believe that you're going to be standing on the top of that mountain, and you climb, and you might have rocks fall down on you along the way. There might be people from behind tugging on your pant leg and your shoe your shoe might fall off. Weather might come in and slow you down. And you're going to, all these things are going to happen. Now, if you don't have a positive mental attitude and you don't believe in yourself, it's very easy to go, you know what? Can't do it, too hard, I'm going to turn around. But if you believe that you're going to make it to the top of that mountain no matter what, and you know what? I don't know what's coming next, but I do know that I'm going to be at the top, and I'm going to work my way around it. Whatever life throws at me, I am going to get by it no matter what the cost. I'm not going to let anything take me from getting to the top of this mountain. And when you have that kind of attitude, and then when you get to the top of that mountain and you achieve that first goal, no matter how small it is, now you're standing on the top of the mountain, and now you have the confidence and belief. You know what? There's 50 other mountains, and they're all different sizes. Now that I'm on the top of this one, I can see all these other ones. You now have the confidence that, you know what? I'm going to go climb that one because that one's much bigger, but I know that I can make it to the top because I made it to the top of this one, and nothing's going to stop me from making it to the top of that one. And when you have that confidence, and when you look at life and your goals like these mountains, and it doesn't matter, you're going to make it to the top, your life will change forever for the positive. So yeah. So you climb that first mountain, Pete. What's your next mountain? What's your next mountain? And put it up on your wall, look at it, focus it, and reach it every day until you're there.
This is the thing. I mean, I've been very public on YouTube that I have had depression and anxiety that I've been dealing with.
You have anxiety?
Oh yeah.
You would never tell. You hide it well.
Thank you. I try.
People who usually have anxiety are usually like, not putting themselves out on YouTube. Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, it happened after I'd started. So it was about 4 years after I started YouTube. And I still have moments where I get angry and upset. And the way I deal with it is I just keep pushing. Don't stop. Just push through. I might be angry in the moment, but once I calm down, I'll say, like earlier, silly little thing. My Xbox wasn't working properly. Got annoyed with it. Didn't understand what was going on. I thought, why can't I get a picture on a TV? Turned out it's my HDMI switch box. It had stopped working.
It's not working.
Yeah, so all I had to do was just unplug everything, plug the console direct to the TV, and problem solved. But in my mind, in that moment, because of the anxiety, I just got really worked up. But I eventually,
and it gets you nowhere. No, it's just it brings more pain, right? Yeah. More suffering when you think like that.
It does. It completely stops you doing anything.
Yeah.
And through therapy, I learned that you have to really just take a breath, look at what the situation is.
Well, I'm glad you gave Secret another chance.
Yeah,
the documentary, and again, I've read the books, and I have things on my desk here. Like here's here's a daily calendar, daily teachings every day. You can look in here and on the calendar. Oh, what's today? What's the date? September 1st. Great. What's the teaching of today? And again, always reminding yourself. In fact, there's a great app as well. The Secret app that I have on my phone, and it's all about affirmations. It reminds you every day. Bing, bing, bing. You get all these stupid notifications on your phone all day about buy more coins. Come on, let me suck all the money. Whereas the Secret app is like, hey, reminder. Think about all the things you're grateful for today. Think of what your goal is today. Here's a bunch of money. Like every day you get money, and you have to write what you want to spend it on. So again, to get you in that mindset that success is coming my way, and this is what I'm gonna, it's all those kind of positive vibes. But yeah, you should check out the app as well. It's a great daily reminder.
So is it on Android?
It's on Android. Yep, that's what I have. I'm an Android.
Have a look at that.
It's on both, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, a couple more questions in terms of like Amico.
Sure, we got about 20 more minutes. I have a meeting starting in 20 minutes.
No worries. I'll try and throw some questions at you there.
Yeah, so that's like one more question. No, I'm just
exactly. Pretty much is. Yeah. A question. This is going to tie into something I've asked you on Twitter before, which I don't think you can talk about, but I'll ask anyway.
Okay.
I think it was one of the very first, or may have even been the first trailer you put out, which I don't know if you remember, you did an interview with Generational Gamer, and he went through the trailer with you. It's one where you hadn't got the simple, affordable family entertainment. I can't remember what it was, but the last.
Oh, it's simple, affordable family fun.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had all the games, and you went through obviously the baseball and the Intellivision, but then you also announced that you got Kung Fu Master and R-Type as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I know from looking on IntellivisionAmico.com that Scott Samura worked for Ivan, who are actually the owners of those games. So is that still coming? Are they okay?
Oh yeah. We haven't started working on those two particular titles that you mentioned. We haven't started those yet, because we're focused on, we're really focused. We chose the Retro Reimagine. They're about 20% of our release titles. Yep. So we kind of got those filled up. We said, okay, which ones are the most important? Some of the Atari titles, Moon Patrol, Burger Time, things like that, the Intellivision ones. And we're heavy on the Intellivision ones, obviously, because it's our, it's less royalty that we have to pay because we own them, if I'm being frank. And it was content that we knew, very much so. But added things like Moon Patrol and Pong and Missile Command and things like that. So we have those all in place, ready to go. We just haven't started working on them yet.
All right, cool. The question I have as well is something I'm interested in. When you buy a license from a company for a game, does that license allow you to make completely new versions of, say, R-Type if you wanted to?
It's different, right? If I just wanted to license the current R-Type game or R-Type Dimensions or whatever, that's a lot less from a from a licensing standpoint, and it's a lot less. Like I could have easily taken the easy route, that's taking the easy route. Hey, let me throw, the original R type up on Amico with our controller. But every system has that. You can do that on the Switch right now, or you can do that. And by the way, they sell those old games are $8. So those original arcade games that probably guys like me and you already have on our MAME cabinets.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're selling them, the original ones, on Switch. And that, again, we didn't want to be that. Everything that we do, we want to be unique. How can we bring Missile Command to Amico that no other company or hardware platform can do it like we're doing it, right? And so those are the games that we chose, immediately right away, is to say, how are these unique? Pong is very unique, the way you control it. The way Breakout is very unique, the way you control it, and the way you can use the controller to put English on the ball after you hit it. So these are the other reasons why we chose. Burger Time, using a screen, that's a little more difficult, right? How can we make Burger Time unique? Now, we have ways, which we've done.
Yeah.
Same thing with Moon Patrol. How can you make Moon Patrol unique when it was just a joystick, a jump, and a fire button? Like, why do you need this to play Moon Patrol? Well, because we have mini games in between each of the planet moons that you go to in the Milky Way solar system, where you're playing a mini game that utilizes the screen. And so we've created a brand new, unique way to play it. Then we add in the multiplayer of versus mode and a co-op mode. So these are the types of things that, that we wanted to use to make the system really, really unique and special. The fact that people don't appreciate that and just want to say, oh, well, you can buy Moon Patrol on any system. Well, that's dumb. It's a really, really,
a limited,
really crazy thing to say.
Yeah. I'm with Moon Patrol in particular, as you say, like co-op mode makes perfect sense, because you can have one person jump, one person speed up, slow down, one person.
You can have up to 4 people in our co-op. So, because there's the ship speed, that's one person could do that. There's the jump, there's the up turret, and there's the forward turret. So if 4 people wanted to play, so you could play from 1 to 4 people. Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be the person controlling the front turret, because that's going to cause arguments.
Well, that's the great thing, though, is like, and that's why the game design for the original Moon Patrol was so genius. Because again, whenever I design a new game, I study the hell out of it. Like in Moon Patrol, what you'll know is that the front, it doesn't happen all the time. You can't just fire front, and it's short. It's short than, because imagine if you could shoot forward all the time and it shot long, that game wouldn't be, the whole design completely changes, and it doesn't become a fun or challenging experience anymore. The fact that, we short shot the front just like the original, and it doesn't do it all the time. You have to wait for it to recharge to shoot it again. That one thing right there, the entire game design gets made around that one thing, that it's short and you can't do it all the time. That's the whole game design behind Moon Patrol. Like that's the whole the fun factor and challenge factor is just because of that one thing. If you think about it, it changes the whole outcome.
It does make a big difference. I mean, as I've never played the game before, I got the demo, and when I started playing it, you really do. The thing I love is you learn so much playing this game. So you'll learn like, oh, I've jumped too far, or I've jumped too short, or there's bounce on the buggy, so you have to make sure it's not tipped down and shooting the floor, which I did loads.
Right, you have to level yourself out.
Yeah.
Again, that was something. Now, the original Moon Patrol didn't have that. That was something that I added, which was, again, you don't want to make it too simple, but oh, I just made that jump, but now oh shoot, like let me slow down, because I have to straighten out before I have to shoot or, shoot that next rock. And I loved watching your videos of you playing Moon Patrol. Like, there's nothing better than like a game designer's, joy of watching somebody play the game, but not get frustrated. And that's the key. That's where you have to tweak stuff, where you want people to learn and always feel like they're getting a little farther. Now, they might mess up on the same spot 2 or 3 times in a row, but they feel confident, like, oh, remember, I got to slow down, shoot that thing, then speed up and jump. You start to, and then something that initially you felt was difficult, but you kept going because it wasn't an impossible challenge. Now you just do quickly and easily because you've learned that. But now there's something next that you're having a problem with. And how can I figure out, gosh, that UFO is right on me. And he kills me every freaking time. Wait a second. Let me approach this a different way. Because everyone's immediate reaction is, let's go as fast as possible.
Yeah,
and the more that you get into Moon Patrol, because you've only played level 1, when you start to get into level 2, 3, 4, 5, and beyond, going fast is bad. Like you do better when you're more calculated and know when to speed up and know when to slow down. And so, on level 1, you can kind of you can get away with going fast a lot, but the upcoming levels are not like that. There's some areas where you do, though, because going fast is fun, but like I found a lot of joy and I think you talked about this in your video, where you hit a ramp, like you're going fast, you hit a ramp, and then you jump, you launch off the ramp, and then you're just like flying through the air, and you're like, oh my God, and you're shooting, blah, 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 and you got the big rock, you got the big, the spread shoot, and you're just like, bam, 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 and just blowing everything away. And like, that's an endorphin hit moment. So you'll see a lot more of those type of moments, like even coming out of a cave, and you're going up a hill, and then it goes down, and then you do a jump off it. And oh, that's so cool. You're like getting air, like, whoa, and shooting and firing at, because like you get so much air that the UFOs are like at your sight line. So you can shoot in front of them and blow guys away who are like up in the air, but now you're like more than them, and you start firing. So there's so many, or there's other great spots where you're in a cave, and we have these laser cannons that shoot. Now you can either try to get close and destroy them with your front shot, or you just have to jump over their shots and then maybe shoot them, or just completely jump over them, or time your jump to when, let me speed up, because they shoot. If I slow down, I can shoot, and then I can jump over that shot. Then let me speed up and then jump over the cannon. Or if I just go all the way fast, I can jump over the shot and the cannon at the same time. But then we have things where it shoots, but there's a little canyon dip before the shot. So it's like, so you climb a mountain, and now if you slow down, you'll miss the shot, and then you jump, and then you jump and land in the canyon, and then slow way back down. And so it shoots over your head, and then you come up from the ridge and then blast them away. So these are the kinds of fun things that people can expect from all. And Pete, keep this in mind. Like, you had a whole bunch of fun, I could tell, from all the videos you made. So challenging. That's level 1, right? Imagine mini games plus multiplayer plus co-op plus versus mode plus 9 more planets, and this game is $9.99.
Exactly.
I mean, people are forgetting, like when people say, oh, the price of this console, it's crazy, it's just like a Switch and this and that. People are forgetting, again, that value that we're doing. the fact that this could be a $20-$30 game easily, right? But the initial machine, look, I could have sold the machine for $150 and it would have come with one controller and no games on it. I could have done that all day long. But again, our market research for our target audience was like, I just want something that works out of the box. I want multiplayer out of the box, bunch of games that I can enjoy. Give me a card game, give me a skiing game, give me a motion control game, give me a shooter, give me a, and that's what we did. That's what we did. So although some people might look at it like, oh, well, it's $249, but the Switch Lite is $199. Yeah, but it's a completely, you can't compare those two because of, again, the fact that Moon Patrol is $9.99 and it's going to give some people anywhere from 15 to 50 hours of entertainment for $10. Are you kidding me? That's a hell of a proposition, and that's value.
That's exactly how I look at it. I mean, people can compare it to the Switch and anything else they want to, but at the end of the day, if it's $249 with two controllers, which on their own are going to be, I think you said about you're aiming for around about 50 each, if you can.
We're trying to get it. We're trying to get them to 50, but it might be 50, 60. We're trying to get them as low as we can, but it's looking closer to 60 than 50, unfortunately now.
It's just fair enough. But as I say, you get two $60 controllers. You got the console. You got 6 games packed in, which are all top tier games. They're all going to be around about a $10 mark. They're not going to be the lower end because
that's right. Exactly. Skiing, Astro Smash, cornhole. These are massive. Farkle's probably, I wouldn't sell Farkle at $9.99. But those other ones and the last pack in the 6th game is going to be amazing, and that's a $10 game as well. So think about that. So you're getting roughly 50. Let's call it $50 in games for the 6 games. You're getting $50 there. Another $60 control. That's $110. So again, a value, extra value right out of the gate. Now at $250, take that $110 off. We could have sold it at $140 without those things on it. Mm-hmm. And people would have been like, oh, wow, that's great. But for our target audience, it's not what they want, And
I think adding the extra things like the polycarbonate, is that the right word? I think that's the right word.
Yeah, polycarbonate. Yeah.
Those kind of things I would assume from your focus testing with families as well. They're going to want something durable for the children. So it makes sense to do that.
Exactly. And we had a bunch of different things. We tried this with plastic. We tried it with glass. We tried it with, different types of acrylic and plastics would scratch and glass would break. And so again, you know what? This was the most expensive thing that we could have done. Well, glass might have been more expensive, but this, you can see the whole thing, see the glare on the entire thing. So it's not just the screen, it's this entire thing. It's very clean. And of course, we punch out the holes for this, and then the speaker and the microphone, there's holes in there, and for the pause button, home button. But that's something we could have easily went cheap on, and I, by the way, I could have made the machine with 2 controllers for $199 as well. I could have had 1 pack in game and then cheap out on the controllers. How did that work out for Ouya when they cheaped out on the controllers, right? Yeah. The stuff was rubbing off after a week, and it didn't feel heavy. It felt weak and this and that. The controllers, this, Pete, they're the most important part of a game console, period, end of story. It's the thing that you use the most to interact with the game. So we put all of the energy into these. These cost about $35 each to make, for us to make, to manufacture, right? Around $35. That's before, shipping, before distributors take their thing, before retailers get their massive margins as well. So you can see when selling something, like there's no way we could get these close to $50 retail, because, and then also remember, with retail prices, you also need to go on sale as well, right? So if we were to say $49.99 on launch, that means by next Christmas they're $39, or they might have and now everyone's losing money. So you see kind of where the numbers all fit in. They all have to make sense. We're not making a killing off of any of this stuff, hardware wise or anything. Now we're making enough to be profitable and enough to break even. If we sell, a couple 100,000 units, 200,000 units, we're going to break even and sustain, be able to keep going. So that's great news. But the money will be if we sell millions of them, and if people love our games and buy loads more games. So we're not expecting like they're going to buy one game a year. We think because the prices are low and because we're offering a lot of value and people are going to trust the content because it's all curated, we're hoping that people are buying 6, 7, 8 games a year. And by the way, that's only about $40 or $50, right?
Exactly.
The average for Xbox that people spend is $160 a year. That's the average that people spend on Xbox, and in PlayStation, and I think it's around $150 as well. And I think the Switch is about $120 a year. That's average that people spend. If our average is half of that at $60, we're still $1 billion company in 5 years from now. So it really does come to the game's got to be great, and people got to trust the quality of this. So we're all in on quality.
Yeah, that's really it. I mean, the trust and the value, as you've always said, the value is there with the console, the 2 controllers, the 6 games. They can turn it on, play it straight away. And then the trust comes because you've got a solid product that won't break easily and the children can play with. Yeah. And also the children can sit down, play on a console where they know that they can leave them to play, feel completely safe about it because there's no violence, no sex, no language, nothing.
Yeah. And people say to me, well, you could set parental controls. Yeah, but you have so many different devices in a modern home. There's Netflix and Amazon, and there's tablets, and there's phones, and even Disney Plus, right, has some stuff you don't want young kids seeing. And so you always have to, and then there's PlayStation, Xbox, and all this tablet and that tablet and the internet. And what about this web browser and this thing here? And parents got to deal with all this stuff. They're always like all these devices, and they're always got to be watching and careful about who's watching what, when, and if I'm not home, and if they go over their friend's house and this and that. How about something where they don't have to worry about it? How about that? How about something you don't have to send parental controls for? It's like, like when you go to Disneyland, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about your kids seeing something that you don't want them to see. You don't have to worry about it. There's not some, strip joint in the corner somewhere. Okay, let's not go into that section of Disneyland because we don't want you to see it. What about just feeling something that's safe and that feels like, isn't it great? I never ever have to worry about it. That's, again, just that one little thing. People, especially the negative folks out there, they have no idea how important that one little thing is to the audience that we're selling to. They have no clue. And you'll ever notice that the people who hate it are white guys with no kids, in their 30s and 40s. You ever notice that? Seriously, yeah. Right? Yeah. Because they don't have children, because they don't have that experience of knowing, what it's like, the things that those have to deal about it. And so it's just, it's interesting to me that a lot of those folks who hate it don't have kids and are hardcore gamers. And by the way, that's fine. It's not for you. Don't pick it up. I don't care.
Well, I'm a hardcore gamer, if you want to call me that. I've been playing for 35 years. I have no kids. I don't have a girlfriend at the moment. And right. I think it's a bloody brilliant product. So
well, there you go. See, so not everybody's like that, but
yeah. So I've got a couple of questions because we're going to wrap up shortly.
Yes.
one thing you have talked about, and I've got to ask you about this because a lot of the guys in the retro community in the UK have this machine, the Vectrex, something that you're quite passionate about. Yeah, you've said that if the Amico is a success,
I'm going to buy Vectrex. I'm going to buy Vectrex next and relaunch Vectrex. Absolutely, I want to do that.
How would you?
We're actually thinking about. I mean, we have to put this console out, but it's not something that we're thinking about like 5 years from now. About like thinking about like we're literally like looking into it now. So when the time is right or whatever, because that would be super cool. I think that would be amazing.
How would you actually? Is it going to still be like a desktop kind of thing? And obviously,
we'd have the screen right in the box. Yeah, you got to do it.
How do you? Can you upgrade the visuals in any way, or would it just be overlays and things? And
yeah. I mean, I think you could. One of the things. So Jay, the guy who was very instrumental in Jay Smith. A buddy of mine, I've known him 20 years, and he showed me that they were working on a color Vectrex. So so when you think of games like Tempest, for example, Tempest had colors but didn't have overlays, right? And so that would be the thing to do. That's how you would you don't want to mess with it. You want it to be the XY vector graphics, but you can add color to it and add a lot of colors to it, like lasers, like when you see the technology that they have lasers now, like you can see like purple lasers and they're doing all these, amazing things. So technology, but keeping it that vector style graphics, not, but can you add like ghosting effects and all this, like, amazing things to it. So that would be my goal. But that's another Mount Everest to climb. We're still like, we're 80% to the top of the Amico Everest right now. The Amico Everest. So
I'm kind of fascinated with that in a way, because obviously you've taken Intellivision and with the Amico controller is like a modernized version of the original with a lot more technology in it. So it'd be really interesting to see what you would do with the Vectrex in terms of the controls as well. Because obviously I'm sure you've got loads of ideas. But
well, I mean, the original Vectrex controller wasn't bad at all. Like it had that loose kind of metal stick. I mean, maybe you'd make that a little bigger and thicker, but I like the idea of, and that would be a good one where you would take, because the original Vectrex, like I have a Street Fighter 2 stick that was modified for the Vectrex. I have a Genesis controller and a Super Nintendo controller that was modified, or the Mega Drive, as you call it. The Mega Drive that is on the Vectrex, and those are really cool. So, that wouldn't be a thing where I would want to change, but imagine doing like a dual analog stick. And so that would be something where the accessories for the Vectrex, because it's different from Intellivision. You don't want a touch screen and the pad and all that and the motion control and stuff, but just putting out different accessories. Hey, if you liked your SNES or Mega Drive controllers, here's one for your Vectrex that are, similar. If you like the joystick or a roller ball, like remember one of the great football games on the Vectrex was, the X and O's, like the old Atari, and in the arcade, it was 2 roller balls, one on each side. Imagine coming out with a little roller ball, and then you could do a whole bunch of really fun stuff as well. So that would be my approach to it, would be keep the vector graphics, but make the accessories different, joysticks and different input options, but that are more traditional, not that something like crazy and wacky like this.
Well, I hope it happens, because it sounds really good to me.
We just need, the money. Like we have to put all of our time, energy, and resources into Intellivision, launch Amico, and then in a year when it becomes, successful, then we start having some fun. Yeah, even more fun.
One last question before we go. In terms of physical media for the Amico, I know you can't say too much at the moment because you've got to announce that, but you have said there's going to be different styles of physical media. It's going to be one set thing.
Correct.
I have been told by some people that it's going to be an RFID related item that you just tap and it downloads the game. And on Twitter, when I was talking to Super Jamie World about that, and he explained that to me, I said, "Oh, I'll just go digital because I can't see the point. I want a proper physical game." And you, of course, came straight back with a tweet and said, "Well, I think it's something like I've got you covered." So I was interested. Does that mean we are getting proper physical games, or if you?
Yeah. Well, what I meant by that was that like if you just like have something that's like a card that you tap and you throw away after, like you don't really care about it. That's kind of crappy, you know. But if you have like a special edition, something that is collectible, right? Something that I got to be careful. Something that might remind you of why you like physical media so much, and the ability to give it to somebody else when you're done with it too, right? A digital download card, you can't do that.
Limited,
right? But something that's collectible, that's cool, that's wow, I want that because of X, Y, and Z. And again, it's not just X, it is X, Y, and Z. Then that becomes something that you're willing to pay extra for. And maybe people won't, but if you love Evel Knievel, or if you love Moon Patrol, and you get something very cool and unique that only is in that physical product, and you can't get it anywhere else, and you love collecting things, then we got you covered for that. Because why do people like physical media? It isn't the idea that you take a cartridge out of a box, you plug it in, and then you get a new game. That's part of it. But if you're taking something out of a box and tapping it instead of plugging it, well, it's the same thing, right? But what about other things as well? Not just a cartridge, but what if there were other really fun, cool, highly collectible things in there as well? Well, now you're talking about, again, how can you take that physical experience and make it even better? That's what our goal is.
That was well dodged. Well done. You did a good job there.
Yeah, without giving away too much. It gets you thinking, like, damn it, I really want this now.
I'm trying to do like OEB Pete and try and catch you right now.
Right, yeah. No, it's all right.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for coming onto my channel and doing this interview. Really appreciate it. It's
awesome.
Great. I'm absolutely blown away. So there we go. That was my interview with Tommy. Absolutely great guy. Please check out IntellivisionAmico.com for all information about Amico. Sign up for the mailing list, then you'll get your emails as well. And also watch the Intellivision YouTube channel. And
subscribe to the YouTube channel. I mean, that's where we're going to be putting out some really, there's so much content on there now, but we're also going to be hitting it pretty hard coming up. So
brilliant. Thank you very much, Tommy.
All right. Thank you so much, Pete.
No worries. Thank you. So there you go, guys. That was the interview. I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. I had a lot of fun talking to Tommy, and I think we covered quite a few topics as well, which was hopefully something interesting for you to watch, and hopefully you may have learnt some more about the Amico, or if you didn't know anything about the Intellivision Amico, you've now learnt something about the console, and maybe it's piqued your interest. As I'll say in the conversation that we had, if you want to learn more about Intellivision Amico, please go over to the YouTube channel for Intellivision. Also go over to IntellivisionAmico.com, where you can sign up for the mailing list to get all of the latest information. Links are down below in the description. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Please leave your thoughts down below in the comments as always, and I'll see you in the next video.